Today on the Hopefulist, don't fall for instant gratification when it comes to your relationships. Your favorite TV show is going to be a movie and soon. And the first female in the NFL?
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Good morning, hello, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for listening and tuning into the Hopefulist today, whatever part of the day it is for you. It is Wednesday, Hump Day, August 28th, 2019. 3 more days until Labor Day weekend. Oh, it's going so fast. Going so fast. We have been having much cooler weather. It's going to be a little more humid today, but I have spent the last couple of days sitting out on my porch doing work, reading, what have you. Yesterday, I enhanced the experience with a Yankee candle, and I got to smell my honey clementine candle all day. I gotta tell you, it's nice because it's been so hot. We really haven't been able to sit outside that much. And I try not to do that too much during the week, just for the fact of I'm trying to have, this is my work time, this is my play time, that kind of stuff. The porch seems to be a different scenario for me, though, because that's where I've done a lot of my writing. When I was writing articles, which I really haven't done much of it all lately. I've been so focused on the podcast and the blogs and being the hopefulist and hoping to help other people become hopeless too. I really have let everything else fall to the wayside. I may want to try and get one last article in before the end of summer, as the Sandpaper, our free weekly around here, usually appreciates my articles and prints them. But I've done most of my writing out on the porch, so it's kind of nice to get back there. Kind of missed it a little bit. It's funny, Tucker, my podcast partner, just like her mama, I had the front door open, which leads out to the porch, all day yesterday, so she could walk in and out at her leisure. And she has her spot out on the porch where she sits on the ottoman. And I had called her in because we have our routine. When I make my salad for lunch, she gets a baby carrot. So she came in, she got her baby carrot, and then she went right back out into the porch and hopped onto the ottoman. And it was just funny because when I was cutting the carrots for my salad, I dropped one on the floor, so I figured she wouldn't go too far because she usually comes back just to double check she gets anything else. And, of course, the one time I do have something else for her, she didn't come back. So I go and look for her. She's out on the porch, and I just looked at her. I was like, you just are so much like your mama, because she was just sitting out there soaking up not the sun because it was the porch, but the cool breezes and being out in nature, being outside. We are 2 peas in a pod. That's why we are podcast partners, me and my gal, Tucker. So some interesting news. I found this out a few days ago, and I think it just broke a few days ago. Breaking Bad. There is going to be a movie in October, like a month or so from now, on Netflix. How exciting is that? Now, if you have not watched Breaking Bad, I urge you to do so. It may be one of my all-time favorite shows. It may be my all-time favorite show. Here is the synopsis with Breaking Bad. There is a reason you hear people rant and rave about this show. I had watched it when one of the times I had lost my job. And I binge watched it, and I watched it so fast. It just drew me in so much. I had to actually stop watching the episodes halfway through because every episode was such a cliffhanger. I would be staying up all night because I would say, I'm going to bed after this one. And then it would end on such a cliffhanger. I couldn't go to bed after that one. I had to watch another one. So I started stopping the episodes halfway through so I wouldn't be ending on a cliffhanger. And it's the only way I got any sleep. So I went through it really quickly. And then I don't think it was this past year, the year before that, AMC has these marathons where they show them. So we had DVR'd them, and then I watched it again, but this time with Joe. And almost right away, Joe's like, babe, I'm really surprised that you like this show. That about drugs, there's a lot of violence or whatever. You know what drew me in to this show? Here's the premises of the show, if you have not seen it or don't know anything about it. Walter White, normal, average, everyday guy, works as a teacher, is, living his life. He's got a brand new baby on the way, has an older son that has some physical issues, and he finds out he has cancer. So he's freaking out about how his family is going to be taken care of after he's gone. So he gets into this drug-making scheme, and he just spirals out of control. I mean, I just thought it was such good writing because he's just this normal guy, and it could happen to any of us. He had the best intentions, and he ended up, I'm not going to give you a spoiler or anything, but he ended up just being a completely different person by the end of the show. So it was just fascinating to watch the transition and how he changed over the course of this show. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out at some point. I have seen some people say, yeah, I didn't get it. Well, that's okay. Some people just don't get it. I never got The Office. I watched enough episodes where I should have been down with the lingo and all of that kind of stuff. I just never enjoyed The Office. So I guess there's people who just don't enjoy Breaking Bad. But the movie will be coming out in October. Apparently, the premise is going to be the police are searching for one Jesse Pinkman who is on the loose. So the last time we saw Jesse Pinkman, he was driving away after being sprung from his captivity by a gang. And we know Jesse has he really has been through the ringer. He has been through it. And we don't know if we're going to see Walter White. I would imagine we don't, for reasons that if you've seen the show, you would know why. I guess that wasn't very veiled. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be out in about a month and a half. So that's pretty exciting. Can't wait for that. I'm very excited about that. I was thinking about getting rid of Netflix. Now I'm not going to be able to. That's okay. Some other news. Have you heard of Carly Lloyd? She's on the U.S. soccer team. I don't know if she was on this last winning team. I didn't hear her name much. So I'm not sure if she retired from that or if it's a different team that she's on. I don't follow soccer very closely. I don't know a lot about it, but we know the name Carly Lloyd around here because she's a Jersey girl, and she has been very much in the news in the past. I believe she was part of that team. It was either her or her teammate that had, scored a goal, won a game, and then ripped her shirt off. She had a sports bra underneath. It was not a big deal, but they made a big deal out of it. I do remember that. That was a long time ago. That was in like the year, I'm going to say 99 or 2000, because I remember when that happened specifically because I was working at the traffic center, and my man Chio, Chio in the Morning, one of my many hosts that I got to work with through the years, he was not doing mornings yet. He had just come back to the Philadelphia area, and he was working afternoons, and I was auditioning, so to speak, to be his afternoon traffic girl. So we were in separate buildings. We weren't, in the same building, so we didn't see each other. But he was telling this story about how I guess I think it might have been the sports bra or something, like took off in sales, and all of this, hoopla surrounding the fact that she whipped her shirt off, and that the point was, girls, rip your shirts off, which, now, today, I would be very offended by. But back then, I was trying to get a job. So, and things were a little different then. So I kind of played into it, and he knew that I was, vying for the job. And I had known him. I had worked with him in the past, but not on an on-air capacity. I was behind the scenes the last time I had really worked with him. So I had said to him before the traffic report, he had just said, "All right, Wendy, what's going on with traffic?" And I was like, "Okay, by the way, I am doing this report topless." And he's like, "You got the gig. You got the gig." So that was probably around 99 or 2000. And I don't really think that's the actual reason that I got the job. Maybe it was. I don't know. I think it just showed that I was funny and I could go off the cuff, which is important in radio. And then I ended up doing mornings with him for a number of years, and still buddies with him. Still love me some Chew. I actually saw him earlier this spring. We got together, had some lunch, and he's working now in New Hampshire, so good for him. So anyway, this is where Carly Lloyd really came into the public eye, I believe, unless I ever mixed up with somebody else. And she showed up at the Eagles practice not that long ago, so last week or so, and she kicked a 55-yard field goal while she was at their practice. She has actually been approached by NFL teams to be their kicker. What? Can you imagine a female in the NFL? I love it. Well, this is the perfect position for a female because, you don't really get tackled. You may have to block at some point. Not often. Possible. But yeah, this would be awesome. She says that she's actually gotten real offers, and she's considering them. I don't know if that means she's considering whether she wants to do it at all, or she's considering which team she would like to play for. How cool is this? I'm super excited. I don't care what team she's playing for. I'm getting her jersey. Getting her jersey. Lloyd, I don't know what number she'll be, but probably the same number she was when she was on the soccer team, if they allow something like that and somebody doesn't already have that number. So I'm very excited about this. I think it's pretty cool. Football? Women in football? Love it. And she won't be wearing lingerie either. That's the greatest part. The only time you've ever seen women playing football, they've been in lingerie. Yeah, that's right. So there is some very interesting and exciting news that I hope actually takes off. I am a little distracted because I am looking for my topic. Here we go. Okay. Every day before I start recording my podcast, I get up my blog post on my iPad, and then I get up the topic on my iPhone. And some days when I turn the phone off, I turn it back on and it's right there where I left it. Other times, like this morning, I turn the phone on and I hit Facebook and it goes back to the news feed. So then I have to kind of search around for it. So I do sometimes seem a little distracted because I'm trying to talk and look for it at the same time, which is not always easy. But on to the topic. Since I was sitting out in the nice cooler weather the last couple of days, it really does just remind me of fall. Made me a little sad in some ways because I'm such a summer girl. I love summer. And don't get me wrong, I love fall too. It's just that the fall signals winter. That's what I don't like about fall. I love fall. I love the cooler temperatures. Well, I do and I don't. I mean, I'm tired of being hot all the time, but I love sitting out on the deck with Tucker and Tucker getting her little ice cubes here and there whenever we go into the house and just sitting around watching the boats go by. We'll still be able to do that for a little while longer. I probably won't be getting a lot of sun like I had been, but I haven't really been sitting out in the sun much anyway.